Hi, I'm Bakhtiar Sanova and you're watching A News. Let's see the top stories shaping our world. Ukraine and several European leaders call on Trump to press for an immediate ceasefire during his talks with Putin in Alaska. Clashes have erupted at anti-government protests across Serbia, with demonstrators and police facing off in several major cities. Turkey and Syria signed a new defense cooperation agreement to pave the way for joint security efforts and closer military coordination. Ukraine and European leaders urge U.S. President Donald Trump to push for an immediate ceasefire when he meets Russia's Vladimir Putin in Alaska on Friday. Their appeal came during a virtual meeting with Trump on Wednesday.
European leaders and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky are hopeful US President Donald Trump will protect their interests ahead of the Alaska summit on Friday. It's after Zelensky joined German Chancellor Friedrich Merz in Berlin on Wednesday for a virtual summit with Trump, European leaders, EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen and NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte. The video call, which also included leaders from the UK, France, Italy, Finland and Poland, sought to influence US-Russia talks for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine, the first meeting since 2021, despite Kyiv and its allies not being invited.
We have made various points clear for the negotiations. We have made it clear that Ukraine must be at the table as soon as follow-up meetings take place. We want the negotiations to proceed in the right order. A ceasefire must come first. Essential elements should then be agreed upon in a framework agreement.
Zelensky warned Trump that Putin was bluffing about ending the war, accusing Moscow of ramping up military pressure ahead of the summit.
We talked about the meeting in Alaska. We hope that the central topic of the meeting will be a ceasefire, an immediate ceasefire. The US president has repeatedly said this. He suggested to me that after the meeting in Alaska, we will have contact, and we will discuss all the results if there are any, and we will determine the next mutual steps.
Якщо вони будуть, і ми визначимо наступні наші вже взаємні кроки.
European leaders voiced cautious optimism after the call. French President Emmanuel Macron says Wednesday's gathering allowed them to clarify Trump's intentions, while UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer reiterated that there could be no negotiations about Ukraine without Ukraine and stressed the need for robust security guarantees alongside any peace deal. Trump later praised the talks as a 10.
We had a very good call. He was on the call. President Zelensky was on the call. I would rate it a 10, very, very friendly.
He said the Alaska meeting was intended to set the table for a second, broader summit that would include both Putin and Zelensky. NATO's Mark Rutte and the EU's von der Leyen said the discussion strengthened US-European coordination and underscored unity in pursuing what they called a just and lasting peace. Whether Friday's meeting will deliver a breakthrough remains uncertain, but the diplomatic push from Kyiv and its allies reflects growing urgency to secure a halt to the fighting before any wider settlement is discussed.
Meanwhile, the city of Anchorage in the U.S. state of Alaska is ready to host the Trump-Putin summit to be held on Friday. Mayor Suzanne LaFrance said preparations are being carried out in close coordination with government bodies and the military. LaFrance said that, like many others, she was hopeful the meeting would give fresh momentum to the peace process and help bring the war in Ukraine to an end. U.S. President Donald Trump hadn't ruled out holding a second summit shortly afterwards, which could involve Ukraine's president. Tensions escalated in Novi Sad on Wednesday after supporters of Serbia's ruling SNS party hurled flares and firecrackers at anti-government protesters. The violence comes after 9 months of unrest ignited by a fatal railway station roof collapse, sparking daily demonstrations demanding accountability and early elections.
Clashes continued for a second day against anti-government protesters in Serbia Wednesday evening. Supporters of the ruling Serbian Progressive Party, the SNS, threw flares and firecrackers at anti-government protesters in Novi Sad, prompting police to intervene. Daily demonstrations have continued over 9 months after a railway station canopy collapsed in Novi Sad, killing 16 people last November. That event triggered nationwide protests demanding accountability, fairness, and transparency. Protesters have accused Vučić and his allies of ties to organized crime, violence against rivals, and curbing media freedoms. Students leading the charge have refused to back down. Vučić has denied the accusations and blamed unnamed foreign forces for trying to orchestrate disaster.
Terrible things were done tonight in Novi Sad. They are still doing them. But when you show will and desire with peace, endurance and patience, then you always bring victory in the end.
Some demonstrators ended up injured from what they say were blows from sticks and truncheons. Interior Minister Ivica Dačić confirmed at least one police officer was hurt, while President Vučić, standing beside him, claimed around 60 SNS supporters were also injured. Meanwhile, in Belgrade, Kragujevac, Čačak and Niš, police blocked protesters from reaching areas where Vučić's supporters have been camping since March.
Iran's first Vice President Mohammad Reza Aref has said that direct nuclear negotiations with the United States is possible under appropriate circumstances. However, he stressed that Tehran will not sacrifice its right to nuclear enrichment on the international obligations.
First Vice President Aref said that if conditions are right, direct nuclear negotiations with the U.S. are possible. But he was quick to add that Washington's insistence on Iran's zero enrichment is a joke. Speaking to reporters, the high-ranking official said that Iran has announced to the negotiating side that it is willing to build trust, but it seems that the U.S. pretends to be asleep. He also said Iran will negotiate with dignity and will not ignore enrichment. In another related development, Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister for Political Issues Majid Takhravanchi was quoted saying that Tehran may agree with provisional limits on its nuclear program in return for removal of sanctions. In an interview with the Japanese Kyodo news agency, he said that it could be a win-win situation in which Iran accepts certain limitations on its nuclear program for a certain period of time, and in return, the sanctions are lifted. According to the senior diplomat, who also stressed Iran's right to nuclear enrichment, under no circumstances can enrichment on Iran's soil be ignored because the zero enrichment is not an option. Iran's signals on resumption of talks with the U.S. and its likely acceptance of certain nuclear limits were sent prior to the news that three European powers, France, Germany and the UK, in a joint letter to the United Nations said they will demand for return of UN sanctions if Tehran does not sit at the negotiating table by end of August. Moreover, the statements by First Vice President Aref and Deputy Foreign Minister Takhravanchi were made 1 week after President Masoud Pezeshkian appointed the veteran politician and pragmatist conservative Ali Larijani to chair the Supreme National Security Council (SNSC). Larijani was Iran's chief nuclear negotiator with the European Troika when he first served as the SNSC secretary from August 2005 to October 2007. Turaj Shiralilu reporting for A News from campus of the former U.S. Embassy in Tehran.
In Gaza City, displaced families sheltering in beachside tents are enduring relentless summer heat, worsening health problems and deepening shortages. With little electricity and scarce water, daily survival has become even harder.
Displaced Palestinians living in tents on the beaches of Gaza City say the summer heat has become unbearable, adding to the hardships of war. Many cook over open fires in the sand, sleep without mattresses, and rely on seawater for bathing. Shaima Jandia says her family once lived a comfortable life, but now faces days and nights without relief from the heat.
All day it is unbearably hot. We get dizzy from the heat. My son cries a lot and my husband is injured. He cannot handle the heat and gets dizzy. Despite this, we endure it quietly. The heat, extreme heat, it is an oven. You can see he is dizzy. He is just thrown there from the heat. At midday, he sleeps on the beach, on the sand. At night, he sits and cries too. Not only during the day it is hot, but the nights are also very hot. There is no coolness.
For 57-year-old Swad Salem, pre-existing illnesses make the conditions even more dangerous. She says she sometimes sleeps outside the tent just to breathe.
I am in the street. I have blood pressure, diabetes, and heart palpitations. I was suffocating in the tent last night, so I came out and sat here. I need 3 jerry cans of water a day to throw on myself because of the chickenpox and the scabies.
Madeleine Almdama, displaced from the Zaytun district, says her children have developed stomach infections and skin rashes from spending days in the sand and bathing in seawater.
The tent is hot because it is all fabric. They don't have treatment and we sleep on the ground. Can you see our tent? There are no mattresses. There is nothing. The water is not clean. It is a struggle in terms of water.
Residents say the shortages go beyond food and shelter. Much of Gaza's water and sanitation system has been destroyed, and electricity is scarce. Water pumps often depend on small generators, but fuel is rarely available, leaving families with little clean water for drinking or washing.
Typhoon Podul is moving from southern Taiwan toward coastal cities and Hong Kong, bringing heavy rain and strong winds. The storm has already caused injuries, flight cancellations and school closures, as well as 1 person is missing in Taiwan.
Typhoon Podul swept through southern Taiwan on Wednesday, bringing winds of up to 191 kilometers per hour, leaving 1 person missing and injuring more than 140 others. Schools and government offices were closed in 9 cities and counties, including Kaohsiung and Tainan, and more than 400 domestic and international flights were cancelled. The storm made landfall in Taitung County before moving across southern Taiwan and into the Taiwan Strait, affecting coastal cities including Fujian, Guangdong, Jiangpu and Xiamen. Thousands of residents were evacuated from their homes and fishing boats were recalled to port. Podul weakened to a tropical storm but continued to bring heavy rain and strong winds. It made landfall in southern China Thursday morning, dumping torrential rain in an area still reeling from record downpours last week, the heaviest in generations, according to officials. In Hong Kong, authorities issued their highest level black rainstorm warning, closing schools, outpatient clinics, cancelling around 20% of flights and suspending court hearings, including that of media tycoon Jimmy Lai. Meteorologists expect Podul to gradually lose strength as it moves inland to around 35 kilometres an hour, though disruptions are likely to continue in the affected regions.
Bitcoin surged to a new record, hitting around $124,000, lifted by growing expectations of Federal Reserve rate cuts and strong institutional demand. The rally gained further momentum from recent U.S. policy shifts, and most notably an executive order allowing crypto in 401k retirement accounts, alongside stablecoin coin regulation and broader financial reforms. Analysts warn that a sustained break above $125,000 could propel Bitcoin to $150,000, though volatility remains a key risk. Syria and Turkey have signed a new defense cooperation agreement aimed at strengthening the Syrian Arab Army. The deal includes military exchanges for specialized training in key areas. Turkey will also provide technical assistance, sending experts to help modernize Syria's command structures, weaponry and organizational systems. Both countries emphasized their commitment to building a professional, disciplined army capable of safeguarding Syria's sovereignty. Syria issued a stern warning to the YPG, one of the Syrian branches of the PKK, considered a terrorist organization, to stop posing a threat to the region. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan made the announcement during a joint press conference in Ankara with his Syrian counterpart Assad al-Shibani. Fidan said the YPG hasn't followed the Syria integration agreement signed in March and must stop delaying its implementation. He emphasized the recent clashes near Manbij and Aleppo and said the YPG should use the PKK's decision to disarm. Also, Shibani criticized the Syrian Democratic Forces for trying to review the constitutional declaration, saying it breaks the integration agreement. The first part of the latest shipment of electrical equipment intended as humanitarian aid to Ukraine was dispatched from the Sumgay Technology Park. The delivery is being carried out by the Ministry of Energy in accordance with the order of President Ilham Aliyev.
Azerbaijan sends another humanitarian aid to Ukraine consisting of electrical equipment. The cargo trucks are leaving the territory of Sumgay Technology Park. This aid is part of a broader effort to restore stable electricity supply to areas affected by the ongoing conflict.
In August, President Ilham Aliyev signed a decree allocating $2 million for this purpose, with funds sourced from the Presidential Reserve Fund under the 2025 state budget. The initial humanitarian aid cargo includes nearly 90,000 meters of electrical cables and wires, as well as 25 generators and 7 sets of transformers.
The first batch, consisting 10 cargo trucks, is departing today, approximately 2 weeks. This shipment is part of the $2 million worth of equipment organised in response to Ukraine's request. The next batch will be sent in the coming days via an additional 9 trucks. All equipment is produced in Azerbaijan. Previously, in 2023 and February of 2025, similar humanitarian aid was provided through decrees allocating $7.6 and $1 million, respectively.
I want to say our gratitude and deepest appreciation to the President Ilham Aliyev and the government of Azerbaijan for this very important and very needed aid and support for Ukraine. This electricity equipment we will use to recover all our electricity system, and we very much appreciate that this is the second package of the electricity equipment aid which we received this year.
The Azerbaijani Ministry of Energy continues to coordinate these efforts to support Ukraine's energy infrastructure amidst the ongoing crisis.
Kazakhstan has officially opened access to Starlink satellite internet, promising better connectivity across the country's vast and remote areas. This development comes amid increasing competition in the telecom market and ongoing efforts to strengthen the country's digital infrastructure. For more details, here is Fariza Kalimurzina reporting from Almaty.
Starlink has officially started operations in Kazakhstan, allowing citizens for the first time to legally buy, use and register Starlink satellite internet terminals in full compliance with national regulations. Until now, the service was only available in pilot mode and limited to schools. This launch follows an agreement signed in June between Starlink and Kazakhstan's Minister of Digital Development, Innovation and Aerospace Industry, under which the company committed to fully comply with all national laws related to information security and telecommunications. Kazakhstan faces unique challenges in providing stable and high-quality internet due to its vast territory and widely spread out population. Despite having more than 30 internet providers and an internet penetration rate of nearly 93%, many people report poor service quality and limited provider options, especially in remote areas. Meanwhile, the telecom market is seeing a surge in competition. In January, Space Sail Kazakhstan Limited, a subsidiary of China's Space Sail International, was registered with a charter capital of $17 million. In February, Amazon Kuiper Kazakhstan Limited, part of Amazon Satellite Project, also registered a local branch. Also, global provider OneWeb is expected to enter the market soon. Oleg Emelianov, president of the Kazakhstan Association of Communication Operators, welcomed the entry of global providers, but stressed the need to develop strong domestic operators, warning that Kazakhstan must avoid over-dependence on foreign companies, which could pose risks if access is cut off during critical times. Currently, Kazakhstan accesses the global internet primarily through Russia, with major data routes passing through Russian territory before connecting to Europe and beyond. In response to growing geopolitical concerns, Kazakhstan is developing a new infrastructure project to create an independent route across the Caspian Sea to Azerbaijan. This project aims to reduce reliance on Russia and strengthen Kazakhstan's digital sovereignty. From Almaty, Kazakhstan, Fariza Kalimurzina, A News.
In Afghanistan, a worsening food crisis is threatening millions of lives, with the United Nations warning of dramatic aid cuts as early as October. Our correspondent Tamim Bahis has more from Kabul.
The World Food Programme says 9.5 million Afghans, that's about 1 in 5 people, are facing acute food insecurity. Without urgent new funding, the agency warns it will have to slash its general food assistance next month, leaving millions with no way to feed their families. WFP says it can currently reach only 1 million people a month, just a fraction of those in need. The organization points to 3 lifelines that have helped prevent an even deeper crisis in recent years: remittances, improved agriculture, and humanitarian aid. But all 3 are now under heavy strain. Meanwhile, in a positive development, UNDP has announced a $10 million project funded by South Korea, aimed at helping 350,000 people in 6 Afghan provinces. According to the UNDP, the one-year initiative will focus on creating short-term jobs, building infrastructure, improving food security, empowering women, strengthening climate resilience, and supporting displaced families and returnees. With humanitarian needs growing and funding shortfalls looming, aid agencies warn that without immediate action, Afghanistan's hunger crisis could spiral into catastrophe. This is Tamim Bahis in Kabul for A News.
That's all we have for now. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to A News for more.